Hello, everyone out there. My name is Chantel Harris. Of course, I introduced myself on the Ask Me Why page, but I am formally introducing myself in this video. So the purpose of this video, I'm going to try not to be too long, but the purpose of this video is to basically answer the questions I've been getting from a lot of my family members as to why I'm waiting until now to speak about the molestation, the incest, to become a voice basically of sexual abuse and molestation and incest. And so I had one family member to say, why open up a can of worms? And that was a friend of a family member. I had a very close family member to say, well, why do you want to talk about it now? You had a praying mother, your mother prayed about it. And I ended up telling that person that, yes, it is so important to have a prayer life. And I'm definitely not the one that's against having a prayer life, but trauma has to be handled directly. And that's one of the things that we need to learn in the church as a whole. But the purpose of me starting the Ask Me Why platform, the purpose of me writing my book, You Invited Us In, is to bring about awareness to incest and molestation in our community, human trafficking, sex trafficking in our community. All too long, we have swept this subject under the rug. We take it, and what bothers me most about our community is we will shun people for their sexual preferences. We will shun people for the smallest things in our community, but we will protect with everything in us the child molester. And peep this, especially the church. I know a lot of people are not going to like that, but yet, especially the church. So I am telling family, friends, anyone out there that yes, me bringing awareness to molestation, me bringing awareness to incest, me telling my story, it is going to ruffle some feathers, but that is okay. Because if one young girl comes forward and calls and or inboxes me and tells her story, if one young boy says I'm in that position, because abuse is not limited to sex, it's not limited to male or female. And if one young boy, if one woman comes and says, hey, I never forget, I visited a state one time and I was talking about the incest and the molestation, because I've talked about it for years. I've never gone public with it, but I've actually talked about it for years. And I will never forget a woman in her 50s. I was the first person that she just walked up to me and say, I'm just going to tell you, I remember my grandfather molesting me when I was about 5 years old. And so again, talking about it for years and going public with it now, I know it's going to ruffle feathers. I know it may make some friends mad, some family members mad, some church folks mad. It may make some people mad, but it's okay, because one of the things that I have come to realize, again, this is a taboo topic in our community, but it's a topic that has to stop becoming taboo. It has to come to the forefront. It has to stop being whispered about in church. When you have men of the cloth, that women are entrusting you to their children, and you take advantage of the fact that women have entrusted you to their children, and you take advantage of that by molesting them. So these are the topics that no one wants to talk about. We have a very hot topic in our community right now, and if it sickened me how not men but women actually came against these young girls when they finally came out and they confessed. Not done in the proper way, in my opinion, but they told their story. And it sickened me how people would say, oh, if that's the case, why weren't the police called? If that's the case, why didn't you say it early? You can never talk for a victim unless you are that victim. My mother did not find out that we were molested until we were in our 20s, and we finally told her. So it's not a time thing. You can't put a time limit on when a victim is ready to confess what happened to them, or when a victim wants to out their abuser, or when a victim wants to finally tell their story. You can't put a time limit on that, because it's within them. It's when they get tired. It's when they get tired of experiencing the trauma, and the trauma that plagues our lives when we are. So I call myself a survivor. I'm not a victim anymore. But when we're survivors, there's trauma that plagues you. In this platform, we'll talk about some of those traumas. But this thing, that molestation and incest, it went into my adulthood. You heard in some of the ones that have read my book, you invited us in. It went into my marriage. It went into friendships. It went into my businesses as an entrepreneur, because there are just certain characteristics that you have once you become a victim. You basically trust no one. And that type of mentality, it affects you in everyday life. So the platform Ask Me Why has been launched. It's created because I'm going to be a voice in this community. I'm going to assist other young men, women, boy, girl, whatever, whoever. I am going to assist those that are ready to speak out. I'm going to assist them with having a voice, not being afraid to tell their story, not being afraid to say, hey, this is what happened to me. I don't want you to be afraid. And the difference between myself and other people, to each their own, and I'm not judging, let me disclaimer, to each their own. This is not for likes. This is not for a TikTok or Facebook check. Right now I still have the Facebook people from a year ago, because of reels that I have going viral, still asking me for tax information. I still haven't given it to them, because it's not about that for me. It's about one person can hear my story. One person can hear the stories of the men and the women that I'm going to have come on this platform, and their whole entire life can change. So the purpose of Ask Me Why is very, very simple. Everyone saw me acting out sexually. Everyone saw me with anger in my relationships. Everyone saw that. Not, you when you didn't know me back then, you wouldn't know that part of me, but because everybody sees the Chantel now. But back then, when you knew me, you saw the anger. You saw how upset I would get in 2.5 seconds. But no one ever said, why is she that way? Why is she acting out? No one asked the little girl, 12-year-old that's running away from home and acting out sexually, why are you acting this way? What is wrong? And sometimes all a victim needed was for someone to ask them why. And that's why this platform has been launched. We want to hear your story, and we want to know your why. And so that's it. That is my story. And again, I'm going to be telling you more of my story of how I got here. But if you want for those family members, people that are asking me, why now? Why tell your story now? Why come up with all this now? Why bring awareness now? Why push this now? Because I wish someone would have pushed it for me way back when. But now as a survivor, I'm ready to do that for someone else. Thank you.